Deep in the vast expanse of space, a team of alien archaeologists and explorers aboard the research vessel Astrea made an astonishing discovery. Their sensors had detected the faint traces of an ancient fleet of spaceships, a remnant from a bygone era. Intrigued, the team set a course to investigate this mysterious find. As they approached the coordinates, the Astrea's captain, Zara, couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. "This is remarkable," she mused, her eyes fixed on the view screen. "An undiscovered fleet of ships, just sitting here, untouched for centuries." The rest of the crew shared her enthusiasm, eager to uncover the secrets of these long-forgotten vessels. Jada, the lead archaeologist, scanned the ships with her instruments, her brow furrowed in concentration. "The ships appear to be in surprisingly good condition, given their age," she reported. "Their design is quite rudimentary, though. I don't recognize this technology at all." Zara nodded, her lips curving into a slight smile. "Ah, yes, the ancient races were quite primitive in their spacefaring capabilities. I wonder what led them to venture out this far from their homeworld." As the Astrea moved closer, the crew caught their first glimpse of the ancient fleet. Dozens of ships, in varying states of disrepair, floated silently in the void of space. Their hulls were pitted and scarred, but there was a certain rugged charm to their utilitarian design. "Look at the size of those engines," exclaimed Jada, her eyes widening. "They must have been incredibly powerful for their time. I've never seen anything like this before." Zora chuckled, her amusement evident. "Powerful, perhaps, but hardly efficient. Our smallest shuttlecraft could outmaneuver these relics with ease." The captain's nonchalant dismissal of the ancient ships did not sit well with Jada. "Nonetheless, they are a remarkable find," she insisted. "We should treat them with the respect they deserve. Who knows what we might learn from studying them?" Zara raised a placating hand. Of course. I merely meant to say that our technology has advanced far beyond these primitive vessels. But you're right, Jada. We should approach this with an open mind. Scan the ships thoroughly and see what you can uncover." As the Astrea began its survey, the crew couldn't help but marvel at the sheer scale and complexity of the ancient fleet. Jada led a team of specialists in carefully examining each ship, documenting their findings with meticulous detail. Days turned into weeks, and still, the mysteries of the fleet refused to reveal themselves. Zara, while impressed by the dedication of her crew, couldn't help but feel a growing sense of impatience. "Jada, have you made any progress in understanding the purpose of this fleet?" she asked during one of their briefings. Jada nodded, her expression thoughtful. "We've made some interesting discoveries, Captain. The ships appear to have been designed for long-range exploration and deep space travel. Their propulsion systems are unlike anything we've seen before, and the life support systems are remarkably advanced for their time." Zora's eyes narrowed, a hint of skepticism creeping into her voice. "Advanced? Compared to what exactly? I'm still not convinced these relics are worth the time and resources we're devoting to them." "Captain, please," Jada pleaded. "If you could just see what we've uncovered, I believe you'd understand the significance of this find. These ships may hold the key to unlocking a lost chapter of history." Zora considered Jada's words, her gaze softening slightly. "Very well, then. Arrange a more detailed presentation. I'll give you and your team one more week to make your case. But after that, I'll need to reevaluate the priority of this mission." Jada nodded, her determination renewed. "Thank you, Captain. I promise you won't be disappointed." As the Astrea continued its investigation of the ancient fleet, the crew couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery. Little did they know, the true significance of their find was about to be revealed, forever changing their understanding of history and the limits of human potential. As the Astrea's crew delved deeper into the mysteries of the ancient fleet, they continued to uncover more puzzling discoveries. Jada and her team worked tirelessly, analyzing the ship's design, materials, and propulsion systems, but the more they learned, the more questions arose. These engines shouldn't be functional after all this time, Jada mused, her fingers tracing the intricate circuitry of one of the ship's power cores. Yet they're still generating enough energy to maintain life support and basic systems. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Zara, who had been observing the proceedings, nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps the ships have some kind of self-sustaining power source we're not detecting. Or perhaps they're drawing energy from somewhere else in the vicinity. Jada's eyes widened at the captain's suggestion. You may be onto something, Zara. I'll have the team scan the area more thoroughly, see if we can pinpoint any anomalies. As the crew expanded their search, they encountered a startling discovery. One of the ships, long assumed to be dormant, had suddenly sprung to life, its engines flaring to life with a brilliant burst of energy. What's happening? Zara exclaimed, her hands gripping the edge of the command console as the Astrea rocked from the shockwave. I'm not sure, Jada responded, her fingers flying across her console as she tried to make sense of the readings. The ship's systems just activated on their own. It's as if it's defending itself. Zara's brow furrowed, her expression a mix of confusion and concern. Defending itself. Against what? Before Jada could respond, the ancient ship launched a volley of energy pulses, striking the Astrea and causing significant damage to its shields. The crew scrambled to their stations, desperately trying to regain control of the situation. Evasive maneuvers, Zara barked, her voice sharp with urgency. We need to get out of the firing range of that ship. The Astrea's pilot, Ren, gripped the controls, guiding the vessel with a deft touch as it swerved and weaved, narrowly avoiding the relentless barrage of energy pulses. Captain, we can't keep this up forever, Ren called out, his voice strained. Our shields are starting to fail. We need to find a way to disable that ship without destroying it. Zara's mind raced, trying to find a solution. Jada, can you try to establish communication with the ship? Maybe we can reason with it. Find a way to calm its defenses. Jada nodded, her fingers flying across her console as she attempted to establish a connection. I'll try, but the ship's systems are highly advanced. It may not be able to understand our language or intentions. The tension in the air was palpable as the Astrea continued its evasive maneuvers, the ancient ship's weapons relentlessly pounding against its shields. Zara gritted her teeth, her knuckles white, as she gripped the edge of the console. Come on, Jada, she muttered, her eyes fixed on the view screen. We need to find a way to stop this before it's too late. Just as Zara was about to order a retreat, Jada's console beeped with a faint signal. Captain, I'm detecting a response from the ship. It seems to be communicating with us. Zara's eyes widened, a glimmer of hope sparking in her expression. Can you translate it? Find out what it wants. Jada's brow furrowed in concentration as she analyzed the incoming data. It's difficult to decipher, but it appears the ship is sensing a threat from us. It's trying to defend itself, but it's also trying to communicate. Zora's gaze softened, and she raised a hand, signaling Ren to hold his fire. Then let's try to understand each other, she said, her voice calm and resolute. We mean no harm. We're here to learn, not to fight. As the Astrea's crew held their breath, the ancient ship's defenses began to power down, and a new chapter in the unfolding mystery had begun. After the tense encounter with the ancient ship, the crew of the Astrea grew more cautious in their approach to the mysterious fleet. Jada and her team continued their research, now with a greater understanding of the ship's defensive capabilities. It's clear these vessels are designed to protect themselves, Jada said during a briefing with the crew. They seem to have some kind of autonomous defense system that activates when they perceive a threat. Zara nodded, her expression thoughtful. So how do we proceed without triggering another attack? We need to find a way to communicate with them effectively. Jada's eyes lit up with an idea. Perhaps we could try a different approach. Instead of just studying the ships, what if we tried to activate them? See if we can get them to respond in a more cooperative manner. The captain considered the proposal, a hint of uncertainty in her voice. Activate them. Isn't that risky? We don't fully understand their capabilities yet. I believe it's worth the risk, Captain, Jada insisted. If we can establish a direct connection with the ships, we might be able to learn more about their purpose and origins. And who knows, they might even be willing to share their knowledge with us. Zora pondered the idea, weighing the potential rewards against the potential dangers. Finally, she nodded, a faint smile tugging at the corners of her lips. Very well, Jada. Proceed with your plan, but be cautious. I want regular updates, and the moment things start to go wrong, you pull the plug. With the captain's approval, Jada and her team set to work, carefully studying the ancient ship systems and trying to find a way to interface with them. It was a delicate process, fraught with uncertainty, but the archaeologists' determination never wavered. After weeks of painstaking work, the breakthrough came when Jada's team discovered a hidden access panel on one of the smaller vessels. This could be the key, she said, her fingers tracing the intricate circuitry. If we can establish a connection through here, we might be able to communicate with the ship's systems. Zara watched the proceedings with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Proceed with caution, Jada. I don't want any more surprises. With a nod, Jada and her team carefully initiated the connection, holding their breath as the ancient ship systems came to life. Slowly, a series of unfamiliar symbols and patterns began to appear on the ship's displays, and Jada's eyes widened in fascination. Captain, we're detecting a response. The ship is trying to communicate with us, she exclaimed, her fingers flying across her console as she tried to decipher the alien language. Zara leaned forward, her gaze fixed on the view screen. Can you understand it? What is it saying? Jada's brow furrowed in concentration as she worked to translate the message. It's difficult, but I believe the ship is asking us about our purpose here and why we've come to its location. The captain's expression softened, and she nodded. Tell it that we come in peace, with a desire to learn and understand. We're not a threat, and we wish to work together. As Jada relayed the message, the crew held their breath, waiting for the ship's response. Moments later, the displays flickered, and a new set of symbols appeared. It's inviting us to come aboard, Jada breathed, her eyes wide with disbelief. The ship is granting us permission to explore it further. Zara's lips curved into a triumphant smile. Excellent work, Jada. Assemble a team and prepare to board the vessel. This could be the beginning of an incredible journey of discovery. With renewed determination, the crew of the Astrea prepared to set foot on the ancient ship, eager to unravel the mysteries that lay within. As they approached the vessel, a sense of excitement and trepidation filled the air, for they knew that what they were about to discover would forever change their understanding of the universe and their place in it. With a sense of trepidation and excitement, the team from the Astrea prepared to board the ancient ship that had opened its doors to them. Zara, the captain, led the expedition, accompanied by Jada, the lead archaeologist, and a small group of specialists. As they approached the ship's airlock, Jada couldn't help but feel a mixture of awe and apprehension. We're about to step into the unknown, she murmured, her fingers tracing the unfamiliar control panels. Zara placed a reassuring hand on Jada's shoulder. Remember, we're here to learn, not to disturb. Proceed with caution, but don't be afraid. This is a remarkable opportunity. Jada nodded, taking a deep breath before initiating the airlock sequence. With a hiss of escaping air, the doors slid open, and the team stepped into the dimly lit interior of the ancient vessel. The first thing that struck them was the sheer size of the ship's interior. The vast, cavernous chambers were unlike anything they had ever seen, the alien technology and architecture leaving them in a state of wonder. Incredible, Zara whispered, her gaze sweeping across the eerily silent corridors. These ships are far more advanced than we ever imagined. Jada nodded, her fingers running along the smooth metallic surfaces. The level of engineering is extraordinary. I've never seen anything like this before. As the team ventured deeper into the ship, they encountered a series of intricate control panels and display screens, all of which were still functioning despite the passage of time. Jada's eyes widened as she studied the unfamiliar symbols and glyphs. "Captain, I believe I'm starting to decipher some of the ship's systems," she announced, her fingers flying across the controls. "The propulsion systems, the life support, even the defensive capabilities. It's all incredibly sophisticated." Zara's brow furrowed in concentration as she watched Jada's progress. "Can you determine the ship's original purpose, where it was headed?" Jada's expression grew thoughtful as she delved deeper into the ship's data. Based on the navigational logs, it appears the ship was part of a larger fleet, engaged in some form of long-range exploration or survey mission. The captain nodded, her gaze shifting to the rest of the team as they continued to explore the various compartments. "And what of the other ships in the fleet? Have you found any clues as to their fate?" Jada's fingers paused on the controls, a look of uncertainty crossing her face. "That's the puzzling part, Captain. According to the logs, this ship was not the only one in the fleet. There were dozens, perhaps even hundreds of vessels, all with the same design and capabilities." Zara's eyes widened, a sense of unease settling in the pit of her stomach. Dozens of ships, all lost and forgotten in this remote corner of space. That's highly unusual. What could have happened to them? Jada shook her head, her expression grave. "I'm not sure, Captain. The logs are incomplete, and there's no clear record of what befell the rest of the fleet. But one thing is certain. These ships were not built by any known alien civilization." The captain's brow furrowed as she processed Jada's words. "Not built by any known civilization. Then who?" Jada took a deep breath, her eyes meeting Zara's with a sense of both wonder and trepidation. "Captain, I believe these ships were built by humans." Zara's eyes widened in shock, her mouth opening and closing as she struggled to find the words. "Humans? But that's impossible. Humans have never had the capability to construct spacecraft of this magnitude, let alone venture this deep into uncharted space." Jada nodded, her expression solemn. "I know, Captain. It's a revelation that challenges everything we thought we knew about human history and technological development. But the evidence is undeniable. The design, the materials, the propulsion systems, even the logs themselves, everything points to a human origin." The two women stood in silence for a moment, the weight of this discovery hanging heavy in the air. Zara's mind raced, trying to reconcile the implications of what they had just uncovered. "If what you say is true, Jada," she finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper, "then we may be on the verge of rewriting the entire history of the galaxy. This find could change everything we know about the past, present, and future of humanity." Jada nodded, her expression solemn. "I know, Captain, and I fear that the true significance of this discovery has only begun to reveal itself." As the team continued their exploration of the ancient ship, the realization that they were standing amidst the remnants of a long-lost human legacy filled them with a sense of both wonder and trepidation. The implications of this revelation would ripple through the very fabric of their understanding of the universe. News of the discovery of the ancient human-built fleet spread like wildfire through the galactic community, igniting a fierce debate and competition among various factions. Jada and the Astria's crew found themselves at the center of this growing storm, as both scientific and political interests vied for control of the extraordinary find. Within days of their initial report, Zara's communications console was flooded with messages from rival research teams, government agencies, and even corporate conglomerates, all demanding access to the ancient vessels. "This is unprecedented," Zara murmured, her brow furrowed as she reviewed the endless stream of requests and demands. "I've never seen this level of interest in a single archaeological discovery." Jada nodded, a sense of unease settling in the pit of her stomach. "It's not just scientific curiosity, Captain. The implications of this find are far-reaching. Whoever gains control of the fleet could unlock secrets that could reshape the very balance of power in the galaxy." The captain's gaze hardened, her lips pressed into a thin line. "Then we must tread carefully. We cannot allow these ships to fall into the wrong hands. Jada's fingers danced across the console, her expression grim. Unfortunately, it may already be too late. Several factions have dispatched their own ships to our coordinates, and they're not here to simply observe. Zora's eyes narrowed, her mind racing as she considered their options. We need to secure the fleet and its data before they arrive. Initiate emergency protocols, and prepare the Astrea for battle if necessary. As the crew scrambled to follow the captain's orders, the Astrea's sensors detected the approaching vessels, their hulls gleaming with the telltale markings of military-grade technology. "Captain, they're hailing us," Ren reported, his voice tense, demanding immediate surrender of the fleet and all data related to it. Zora's jaw tightened, her fingers gripping the edge of the console. "Refuse their demands. Inform them that the Astrea is under the protection of the Galactic Science Council, and any hostile action will be met with the full force of our defenses." The response from the approaching vessels was immediate and uncompromising. A barrage of energy bolts streaked across the void, slamming into the Astrea's shields and causing the ship to shudder under the impact. "Shields down to 60%. Ren called out, his fingers flying across the controls as he maneuvered the Astrea to evade the relentless assault. Jada's eyes were fixed on the view screen, her expression a mix of fear and determination. "Captain, we can't hold them off forever. We need to find a way to disengage and get the Astrea and the fleet to safety." Zora's gaze darted between the view screen and the data displays, her mind racing to find a solution. "Ren, prepare a jump to FTL. Jada, is there any way to activate the ancient ship's defenses?" Jada's fingers danced across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I'm trying, Captain, but the systems are complex and highly specialized. It may take time to interface with them effectively." Ren's voice cut through the tension, his words laced with urgency. "Captain, the enemy ships are closing in. We need to jump now, or we won't have a chance." Zora's jaw tightened, her expression resolute. "No, Ren, we can't abandon the fleet. Jada, keep working on those defenses. Ren, buy us as much time as you can." As the Astrea maneuvered to shield the ancient vessels, the battle raged on, with the smaller, more maneuverable ship engaging the enemy in a desperate dance of evasion and counterattack. Jada's fingers flew across her console, her focus unwavering as she fought to unlock the secrets of the fleet's dormant systems. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupted from one of the ancient ships, and a shockwave of energy rippled through the void. The enemy vessels, caught off guard, reeled from the unexpected assault, their shields faltering under the onslaught. "Jada, what did you do?" Zora exclaimed, her eyes wide with both relief and apprehension. I'm not sure," Jada replied, her expression a mix of awe and uncertainty. "It seems the ship has activated its own defenses, and they're far more powerful than we anticipated." As the enemy ships struggled to regain their footing, the Astrea and the ancient fleet made their escape, disappearing into the vastness of space. Zora's gaze was fixed on the view screen, her mind racing with the implications of this extraordinary turn of events. "We've only just begun to uncover the true potential of these ships," she murmured, her voice tinged with a sense of both wonder and trepidation. "And now we must protect this legacy at all costs." After their harrowing escape from the pursuing enemy vessels, the Astrea and the ancient fleet found refuge in a remote, uncharted region of space. Zara, the ship's captain, knew that this respite would be fleeting, as their adversaries would surely not give up their pursuits so easily. Gathered in the Astrea's conference room, Zara, Jada, and the rest of the senior crew discussed their options, the weight of their responsibility heavy on their shoulders. "We can't keep running forever," Zara said, her brow furrowed in deep thought. "Sooner or later, they'll catch up to us, and we'll be forced to make a stand." Jada nodded solemnly, her fingers tracing the surface of the table. "And when that time comes, we'll need to be prepared. These ancient ships hold secrets that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. We can't let them fall into the wrong hands." The captain's gaze shifted to the rest of the crew, her expression stern. Which is why I'm proposing a bold course of action. We need to take the fight to our enemies before they have a chance to regroup and come at us with full force. The room fell silent as the implications of Zara's words sank in. Ren, the Astria's pilot, spoke up, his voice laced with uncertainty. Captain, you can't be serious. That would be suicide. We're outmatched, both in numbers and firepower. Zara held up a hand, silencing the protests. I understand your concerns, Ren, but we have a responsibility to protect these ships and the knowledge they contain. If we don't act now, we may never get another chance. Jada's expression was solemn, but there was a glimmer of determination in her eyes. I'm with you, Captain. We've come too far to back down now. If we can find a way to leverage the ancient ship's defenses, we might just have a chance. Zara nodded, her gaze sweeping across the room. Then it settled. We'll divide our forces, with the Astria leading the charge, while the ancient fleet provides support and cover. Ren, I need you to pilot the Astria with your utmost skill. Jada, work with the team to unlock the full potential of those ships. The crew members exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of their responsibility evident in their expressions. Zara could see the fear and uncertainty in their eyes, but she also saw the resolve and determination that had brought them this far. I know this is a risky plan, she continued, but we have no choice. The fate of the galaxy may rest on our shoulders. Are you all with me? One by one, the crew members nodded, their faces set with grim determination. Zara couldn't help but feel a swell of pride in her team, even as a sense of dread crept into her heart. As the Astria and the ancient fleet prepared for the impending battle, Jada found herself drawn to one of the smaller vessels, her fingers tracing the intricate designs on its hull. She knew that what she was about to do would be a tremendous sacrifice, but the stakes were too high to do anything else. Gathering her courage, Jada approached Zora, her expression solemn. Captain, I've been studying the systems of these ships, and I believe I've found a way to unlock their full defensive capabilities. But it will require a significant personal sacrifice on my part. Zora's eyes widened, a mixture of concern and understanding in her gaze. What are you saying, Jada? Jada took a deep breath, her voice steady despite the gravity of her words. I need to interface directly with the ship's systems to fully synchronize my mind and body with its advanced technology. It's the only way to ensure that the defenses will be at their peak when we face our enemies. The captain's expression darkened, and she placed a hand on Jada's shoulder. You know what that means, don't you? If you do this, there may be no way for you to return. Jada nodded, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I know, Captain, but this is the only way to protect the legacy of these ships and everything they represent. I'm willing to make that sacrifice for the sake of the greater good. Zora pulled Jada into a tight embrace, her own emotions threatening to spill over. You are an extraordinary person, Jada. Your sacrifice will never be forgotten. As the Astria and the ancient fleet launched their daring counterattack, Jada took her place at the heart of the smaller vessel, her consciousness merging with the ship's advanced systems. The ancient defenses roared to life, their power amplified by Jada's unwavering dedication, and the stage was set for a decisive confrontation that would determine the fate of the galaxy. As the Astria and the ancient fleet launched their daring counterattack, the vastness of space erupted into a spectacular display of light and energy. The enemy vessels, caught off guard by the sudden activation of the ancient ship's defenses, found themselves outmatched and outmaneuvered. Zara, the captain of the Astria, gripped the edge of her console, her eyes fixed on the view screen as the battle unfolded. Ren, keep us in the thick of the fight. We need to draw the enemy's attention away from the fleet. Ren's fingers danced across the controls, guiding the Astria with the precision of a seasoned pilot. Understood, Captain. We'll give them a show they'll never forget. The Astria darted through the hail of enemy fire, its agility and maneuverability proving to be a formidable asset. Meanwhile, The ancient ships, their defenses amplified by Jada's extraordinary sacrifice, unleashed a barrage of devastating energy pulses, crippling the enemy vessels one by one. Zara's breath caught in her throat as she witnessed the sheer power of the ancient technology. "Incredible," she murmured, her voice tinged with a sense of both awe and trepidation. "We've barely scratched the surface of what these ships are capable of." The enemy, realizing the futility of their attack, began to retreat, their ships limping away in a desperate attempt to escape the wrath of the ancient fleet. Zara's lips curved into a triumphant smile, but her expression quickly darkened as she considered the implications of their victory. "Hail the fleet, Ren," she ordered, her voice laced with a sense of urgency. "We need to coordinate our next move. This is only the beginning of a much larger struggle." As the communication channels opened, the faces of the various captains and commanders of the ancient vessels appeared on the Astria's view screen. Zara could see the same mix of wonder, fear, and determination reflected in their eyes. "What now, Captain Zara?" one of the captains asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. "Now that we've proven the power of these ships, what do we do?" Zara's gaze swept across the faces of her fellow commanders, her expression thoughtful. "We must proceed with caution and with a deep sense of responsibility. These ships represent a legacy that has been lost for untold centuries, and with that legacy comes a great burden." Jada's face appeared on the view screen, her features etched with a mixture of pain and resolve. The ancient humans who built these vessels ventured out into the unknown, driven by a thirst for knowledge and exploration. We must honor their legacy by using this technology in a way that benefits all of humanity, not just a select few. The other captains murmured in agreement, their expressions solemn. Zara nodded, her voice firm. "Then it is settled. We will chart a new course, one that will lead us to the heart of human history and uncover the truth of our past. But we must do so with the utmost care, for the power we now wield is unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen." As the Astria and the ancient fleet set out on their journey of discovery, the ripples of their actions began to spread throughout the galactic community. Word of the human-built ships and their extraordinary capabilities quickly reached the ears of the various factions, sparking a newfound interest in humanity's long-lost legacy. Governments and corporations alike scrambled to gain a foothold in the unfolding events, each vying for control of the ancient technology and the secrets it held. Tensions rose, alliances shifted, and the delicate balance of power teetered on the brink of upheaval. Zara and her crew watched as the galaxy they once knew began to transform before their eyes. They knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges and dangers, but they were determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. "We stand on the precipice of a new era," Zara murmured, her gaze fixed on the vast expanse of space before them. "An era that will be shaped by the legacy of our long-lost ancestors, and we, the guardians of this extraordinary discovery, must be the ones to guide the way." With a renewed sense of purpose, the Astria and the ancient fleet set off, their sights set on the distant horizons, where the secrets of humanity's past lay waiting to be uncovered. As the Astria and the ancient fleet ventured deeper into uncharted space, the weight of their extraordinary discovery continued to bear down upon them. Zara, the captain, found herself grappling with the overwhelming implications of their mission, her mind racing with questions and concerns. "We've uncovered a piece of history that could rewrite everything we know about humanity's place in the galaxy," Zara said, her voice tinged with a sense of both wonder and trepidation. "But with that knowledge comes a great responsibility, one that I'm not sure we're fully prepared to handle." Jada, the lead archaeologist, nodded solemnly, her expression grave. "I understand your concerns, Captain. The ancient ships and the technology they possess have the potential to drastically alter the balance of power, not just in our part of the galaxy, but across the entire known universe." Ren, the Astria's skilled pilot, leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "So what do we do? We can't just keep these ships hidden away, but we also can't risk them falling into the wrong hands. Sooner or later, We're going to have to make a decision that will change the course of history." Zara's gaze swept across the faces of her crew, their eyes filled with a mixture of determination and trepidation. "That's precisely the dilemma we face. We've uncovered a legacy that is not ours to claim, but we're the only ones who truly understand its significance and the power it wields." The captain paused, her fingers tracing the edge of the conference table, deep in thought. "We have a responsibility to protect this knowledge, to ensure that it is used for the greater good of all sentient beings. But how do we accomplish that without becoming the very thing we're trying to prevent?" Jada's expression darkened, her voice tinged with a sense of unease. "That's the question we must grapple with, Captain. We can't ignore the fact that there are those out there who would stop at nothing to seize control of these ancient ships, even if it means destroying everything in their path." Ren's jaw tightened, his hands clenching into fists. "Then we have to be prepared to do whatever it takes to defend them, even if it means going to war. We've seen what these ships are capable of. We can't let that power fall into the wrong hands." Zara held up a hand, silencing the rising tensions. "I understand your concerns, Ren, but we can't just resort to violence and aggression. That would only perpetuate the cycle of conflict and suffering. We have to find another way, one that upholds the principles of justice and the greater good." The captain's gaze grew distant, her mind searching for a solution. Perhaps we should consider sharing our findings with the larger galactic community, with the understanding that the ancient ships and their technology will be managed and protected by a coalition of trusted allies. Jada's eyes widened, a spark of hope flickering in her expression. "That could work, Captain. If we can bring together the most influential and trustworthy factions, we might be able to create a governing body that can oversee the responsible use and preservation of the ancient fleet." Ren's brow furrowed, his voice laced with skepticism. "And what if they don't agree? What if they try to seize control for themselves or refuse to work together?" Zara's expression hardened, her voice firm. "Then we'll have to be prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice. We've come too far to let the legacy of these ships be corrupted or destroyed. We owe it to the ancient humans who built them, and to the future of our galaxy, to ensure that their power is used for the betterment of all." The tension in the room was palpable, as the crew members grappled with the weight of their responsibility. But in the end, they knew that they had no choice. The fate of the ancient fleet, and the fate of the galaxy, rested squarely on their shoulders. With a deep breath, Zara rose from her seat, her eyes burning with determination. "Prepare the Astrea and the fleet for a crucial diplomatic mission. It's time we brought the rest of the galaxy into the fold and forged a path forward that honors the legacy of our long-lost ancestors." As the Astrea and the ancient fleet made their way towards the heart of the galactic community, Zara and her crew knew that they were embarking on a mission of the utmost importance. The fate of the long-lost human legacy they had uncovered hung in the balance, and the decisions they made in the coming days would shape the future of the entire galaxy. Jada, the lead archaeologist, stood beside Zara on the bridge, her expression a mix of determination and trepidation. "Captain, are you sure this is the right course of action? Bringing the ancient ships and their technology to the forefront of the galactic community is a risky move. We have no guarantee that they will be receptive to our proposal." Zara's gaze was steady, her voice calm and resolute. "I understand your concerns, Jada, but we've come too far to turn back now. The knowledge and power we possess must be shared, but on our own terms. We owe it to the ancient humans who built these ships, and to the future of our galaxy, to ensure that their legacy is protected and used for the greater good." Ren, the Astrea's pilot, stepped forward, his brow furrowed in thought. "And what if the other factions refuse to cooperate? What if they try to seize control of the fleet by force?" The captain's expression darkened, her jaw tightening. "Then we will be prepared to defend it, no matter the cost. But I believe that if we approach this diplomatically, with a genuine desire to work together, we can forge a path forward that benefits everyone." As the fleet drew closer to its destination, the tension in the air was palpable. Zara could feel the eyes of the galaxy upon them, each faction watching and waiting to see how the events would unfold. When the Astrea and the ancient ships finally arrived at the designated meeting place, they were greeted by a vast array of vessels, each representing the diverse interests and power structures of the galactic community. Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenge that lay ahead. "Hail the other ships, Ren," she ordered, her voice projecting a sense of calm authority. "Let them know that we come in peace, with a proposal that will shape the future of us all." As the channels opened, the faces of various leaders and representatives appeared on the view screen. Zara could see the mix of curiosity, skepticism, and even fear in their eyes, and she knew that she would need to tread carefully. "Esteemed members of the galactic community," she began, her voice clear and unwavering. "We come to you today with a discovery that will forever change the course of our shared history. We have uncovered a fleet of ancient vessels, built by a long-lost human civilization, that possess extraordinary technological capabilities." A murmur of shock and disbelief rippled through the assembled ships, and Zara raised a hand to silence the protests. "I understand your skepticism, but I assure you that what we have found is genuine. These ships are a testament to the ingenuity and ambition of our ancestors, and they hold the key to unlocking secrets that have been hidden from us for centuries." Jeddah stepped forward, her expression earnest. "We propose the creation of a governing council, made up of representatives from the most trusted and influential factions in the galaxy. This council would be responsible for the oversight and management of the ancient fleet, ensuring that its power is used for the greater good of all sentient beings." The various leaders exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of uncertainty and cautious interest. One of them, a stern-faced individual, spoke up, his voice laced with suspicion. "And what guarantee do we have that you will not simply keep these ships for yourselves, or use them to further your own agendas?" Zara met the leader's gaze, her own expression unwavering. "We offer no guarantees, only our commitment to the principles of justice, equality, and the betterment of the galaxy as a whole. We are the guardians of this extraordinary legacy, and we are willing to entrust it to the community, but only if we can be assured that it will be protected and used responsibly." Silence fell over the assembled ships as the leaders deliberated, their faces etched with the weight of the decision they were about to make. Finally, one by one, they nodded, their expressions grim but resolute. "Very well," the stern-faced leader said, his voice tinged with a hint of reluctant respect. "We accept your proposal, and we shall work together to establish a governing council that will oversee the management of the ancient fleet." Zara's lips curved into a faint smile, a sense of relief and triumph flooding her heart. "Then let us begin the work of shaping a future that honors the legacy of our long-lost ancestors and ensures the prosperity and harmony of the galaxy we all call home." As the Astrea and the ancient fleet took their place among the assembled vessels, the stage was set for a new era, one that would be forged by the shared responsibility and cooperation of the galactic community. The fate of the human legacy had been secured, and the path forward, though uncertain, held the promise of a brighter tomorrow.